2. Hey, what's up, my friends? Your boy Triple R here. Love you guys. Hey guys, how are you? Here with another video. Today's topic, we're gonna be discussing Triple R's, basically the people that Triple R looks up to and people that he likes to, you know, watch and study. You know, most of these are all business. Well, they're all businessmen naturally. Do I have another one other than a businessman? I actually haven't looked out of the business circle, so it's just like hard businessmen or entrepreneurs and shit, right? Real estate investors, which I think they're all the same thing. They're all businessmen because they all want to make this the dough. These are dollars we've been accumulating for a while. Nothing major, guys. It's probably like, how much do you think it's here? $50 probably, $50 in dollars. But yeah, so just who are Triple R's? I mean, I don't want to call them idols. You know, we all have idols. Like Elon Musk's idols are, you know, Ari, Norm, whatever that guy's name, the one that went to the moon, and all those people, and they ended up not liking him because he was trying to do the SpaceX shit. So fuck those people, right? Jeff, I don't know who's the people he looks up to. Warner Buffett, I think the people he looked up to, well, obviously his dad was this hero, so his mind is role model, you know. But all these people, you know, they look up to different things. Now, movie characters is different. You know, if you want to talk about movie characters, I like Tony Stark, you know. But my favorite one would be, I mean, Tony Stark, because he's he's the billionaire. My favorite ones from Marvel is Tony Stark. From DC is Batman, because they're actually real superheroes that made the money do something. Like Tony Stark, you know, he's got Star Industry, which basically is a company that develops, you know, manufactures, you know, robots and stuff like that, you know. And then Batman, I like him because Batman is, how do I explain Batman? Batman, he's his parents had Wayne, it was Wayne Industrial, which was a company. Oh, it's Star Enterprise and Wayne Industrial, which was a company that, you know, focused in philanthropy, donating money, and just, it was a business. I think they focused in petroleum and railroads. I'm not sure. I could be tripping, right? Could be thinking of Rockefeller. Oh, that's another one. We'll talk about him in a bit. That's why I like Batman, because the others, other than the other superheroes, they're more like freaking people that have like superpowers. You know, Tony Stark, he can fly because of all his money. He let him fly, you know, freaking some billionaire creating freaking robots and he's flying. Batman, I like him because Batman, you know, like I said, he's just superhero that because his parents died, he wanted someone kill his dad, so he wanted justice, so he became the Batman and shit, which is fucking badass, you know. I respect that, Batman, you know. And my favorite evil one is Joker. I don't know how we started talking about superheroes. Oh, well, that's what I'm telling you. Like, people, your idols, right? If it was to become like superheroes or like movie shit, those are my two favorite ones. Scarface is a good. I like Scarface because that's just like a broad, you know, someone who would clean dishes, was fucked up, and he made it somewhere big. He made it big. That's actually another good example. Of course, we all look up to those people. But real like businessman idols I like to look up to. And today's, like I said, today's video was just talking, hey, who's Triple R, you know, likes and looks up to. Most of these people are old people, you know, people from like, I mean, I remember back in school they used to call me a no soul, like a lost soul, like an old lost soul, because freaking I was always like thinking of other shit to do, innovate, and I can never catch up with school. Yeah, I was always ahead of school in the outside world. Like street smart, I've always been smart, at least I think. But school wise, you know, I've never been ahead, honestly, in school. But let's start. The first man I want to talk about, obviously, is my father. He's an inspiration to me. He's a role model, and he's like, yeah, my hero. I think everyone, if you're a man, your dad should be your hero. Unless he left you and shit, then I mean, it's kind of hard to look up to someone that does that, right? But someone that sticks there and freaking raises you and fucks you up and loves you, I mean, that's a real man, a real father, right? It's my first one. So putting that aside, because that's a special place, right? Like number one. Then come like businessmen I look up to. Is men that I've met throughout my years of like working with my dad, just experiencing life, going to places. I've met a lot of successful people. and those people have taught me lessons, right? From the smallest to the biggest person, you know, how to treat people. Some of them actually don't treat people nice; they're dicks, but they've showed me the business, how sometimes in business you have to be rough. And I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying like people that I look up to. That was one of them. Another one, who would be it? Oh, I like Trump. I mean, look at Trump's real estate freaking empire. You know, maybe he didn't start from zero, but I mean, he's somewhere for sure. I mean, just talks about how sometimes it's hard when like Trump was grown in a good family, right? And sometimes it's hard when you're growing in a good family and then taking off from there. You know, a lot of kids tend to have problems in that situation. But Trump, I mean, he did pretty good. Actually, I have his empire back there. I'll put a picture below of what my company will control. RRR investment firm will control. I have a picture up there and I'll show you guys. But that's one thing. Another thing, that's one guy. Another guy, I look up to Sam Sal. I've just recently got into him. I heard about him a while back. I didn't really know who he was. And then I audio listened to his book, right? Am I being too settled or stubborn? I can't remember the name. But I audio listened to it. I'm actually not done with that book. It's a couple, like 7 hours, which isn't a lot. I usually do those books in like 3 to 4 days because I just sit in like 2 hours just there. But I gotta finish that one. I'm like in 2 hours. Honestly, I'm not even close to being done. That's a guy. And I look up to everyone in the shrine. I think anyone in the shrine, I look up to you, man. If you're a shrine out there, you're an inspiration because anyone in the shrine is going through, like me, you know. And who else? Before we get into the good shit, Marcus Aurelius. I heard about him through this other guy I saw. So his name is Donald Brand. Donald Brand is the richest real estate and developer in the country, in the United States, right? His company's actually like 20 minutes away from where I live. I've actually been to it. Servine company. You know, this guy's huge when it comes to those things. And that's a person I like because, I mean, he started developing and building ranches. He basically built Mission Viejo and all this shit, right? Like him, just his crazy ideas of seeing land and, like you said, location. Other people say it doesn't matter, but I mean, it does matter. He chose the right location. He developed, and, you know, Pelican Hills. Marcus Aurelius. So he was a Roman, I think. And I just heard, I don't know much about him, but I've heard, like, you know, just videos I've seen about him, and it's really good, inspirational guy. Who else? Another person would be, who would be another person? I'm trying to think of names that I've, like, looked, right? Like, seen and stuff. The RRR, you know. Look up to him, too. Who else would be in that list? If you hear a background sound, it's actually the AC. You know, it's actually the AC freaking... It's kind of loud, so it affects the noise, because it's, like, blowing this way. Well, it blows wherever, right? But... blowing. Would be another person. I mean, I got a lot of people I can think. I got a little people I can say. I just can't think about them right now. There's a few, but anyways, like people that I've listened to is like here, like people that have really interested me. Number one, you know, should we start from oldest to newest or newest to oldest? Let me see. Let's go from oldest to newest. Yeah. So at number one, we have King Solomon. If anyone doesn't know who King Solomon is, basically he lived like fucking long time ago, right? He was the son of David, and I mean, he became, God made him the richest man back then. I mean, to this day they say he's actually the richest man, freaking rich man, you know. His book was in the Catholic Bible, but I think they took it out. But you can still find his book. It's called, I think, there's one called The Songs of Solomon. Honestly, the only way I know of him because my parents go to church and they told me about him. Some rich guy, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna look up to him. I'm gonna look into him. This was a while back since I was a kid, right? But King Solomon has done great things. You should look. I couldn't explain his things. You got to read his books. Have audio listen to them. I just love him. and just look into him. King Salmon. It's one of my favorite like just persons I look up to. Why do I look up to him? It's just he was a king, you know. He's a fucking badass. He's the richest person. I mean, they say in history, and I think he was probably the richest person there's ever been. You know, $1 trillion man, truly. But Jeff and Elon are catching up, right? But he's the richest person so far known. So I look up to this guy. Amazing guy, right? That's King Salmon. Now, modern people that I like, I mean modern history, right? I mean these guys lived 200 years ago, 150 years ago, not too long ago. Is starting with John Davis Rockefeller. His empire still runs. JP Morgan. If anyone has a Chase account, I have one. If you guys have one, that's him. That's this guy, JP Morgan. If you see Chase, if you go on their website, it's actually JP Morgan by Chase, or Chase by JP Morgan, some shit like that. But his, you know, he was a financer, a banker. You know, he basically got out this country, met several times out of trouble and during war. So John Davis Rockefeller, John Davis Rockefeller was into the petroleum and steel. Well, yeah, the petroleum, like refining and digging out petroleum. He was into finance world, money, and he was into money. Andrew Carnegie was in the steel industry. He was into steel. So, I mean, all these men basically. The only one that started off with some money was JP Morgan, but not much. And these two started from like broke ground, you know, and they made it freaking. I mean, they say this guy was actually could be the richest man in modern history. He definitely was really rich. I mean, like I said, his empire. If you guys actually look in the Rockefeller Foundation, you will notice that a lot of companies that you guys buy from are actually controlled by his, I guess, family, his foundation. So is JP Morgan. I mean, Chase is one of the biggest freaking banks, you know. JP Morgan's actually one of the biggest ones. And Andrew Carnegie, he's still his legacy's still wrong. All these men's legacy's still wrong. I actually haven't looked in more into Andrew Carnegie, but they said that Andrew Carnegie could have been richer than both of these put together. I don't know though, because they say he's the richest man in modern history. Yeah, he could have been richer than both of them put together. But this guy doesn't stay behind. This guy was, like I said, he got this country out of trouble several times. Look into their stories, you know. Rockefeller, JP Morgan, Andrew Carnegie. Look into them, and those are actually the people that I like their stories, you know. Very solid businessman. Salomon was, I mean, I guess he was a businessman, but I mean back then it was different, right? But he was definitely involved he was a kingdom. So kingdoms, I'm sure, don't require any whatever, man. They require a real, you know, strength, man. And those are people that I look up to. So today's video, like I said, I was just showing you guys the people that I watch, and there's a bunch of guys, I can't think of them right now. There's a bunch of guys that just like I see on Instagram that I look up to. I'm like, God damn, these guys are killing it, and I learn from them because they post videos and stuff. Like this guy that he does real estate. He's an investor, and he's located in Miami. No, there are actually two guys that I look up to, and they're just killing it right now, you know, in the real estate industry. I look up to them. They don't have a big platform, but they're pretty big for like their age and their size, you know. And there's just other people that teach you a bunch of shit. You know, social media now is like you can find anything and anyone. But yeah, those were like the four main people, and all the other people I mentioned. Now, why do I have a picture? You know, it's just cool to have it around. I mean, I printed it. I was like, I printed this like a year and a half ago, or like a year ago actually. Yeah, this is not new, but I just had it there. I'm like, fuck. I'm sure they're wondering who's Triple R, like people he looks up to, right? So here's some of them. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'm gonna post this Friday, and I hope you love it. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, like, and please comment any thoughts, next videos you want me to talk about. Comment below. Like this video, smash it, but don't click it twice, because then you unlike it. Just click it once, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Your boy Triple R loves you, and don't forget to stay tuned for the next one. Peace.